the noise, and welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Key. And you all already know that this month is all about mindful loving. So today, I thought that for our first conversation about this topic in depth, it would be important for us to talk about self-love. Yes. Don't you love a little self-love? But before we jump into that, it's so important that we focus on what love is first, because part of our issue is that we don't have a working definition for love as a collective, and that leads to some confusion about how love plays out when we're doing it in practice. So we're going to talk a little bit about what love is. Then we'll talk about self-love, right? Break that thing all the way down and give you some tidbits for that. And then we'll end with talking about self-soothing. So let's get into it. So the question is, what do we mean when we say love? When we have a clearly defined definition of love, we are able to readily recognize when there's a lack of it. Yes, many of us have lovelessness in our life, as my good sis Bell Hooks talks about in All About Love. A lot of us have lovelessness. We have some areas where we lack love. And it's hard to recognize that when we don't have a clearly defined definition of love. So something I want to bring to your attention is that love is more than affection. Bell Hooks actually talks about that in the book, because oftentimes we bring love down to this very small thing of care and affection when it's so much more than that. It includes accountability. We don't like that word. It includes trust. Yeah. And it includes open communication. Think about those things and think about what love looks like in practice for you today. Because that is going to help us understand ways to show our self-love. So let's jump into some things that we need to know about self-love, since we've evaluated what love is and how we need to look at it to move forward. So I said that we would be using All About Love to kind of guide us. And something that she says about self-love that I thought was so important for us to tap into real quick is she says, let love be love in me. And it's this idea of how we care for ourselves is an expression of our self-love. So the lack of care may equate to a lack of self-love. And I'm talking about that radical self-love, y'all. The second thing I want to point out to you guys is this idea of authenticity. Authenticity is the bloodline of self-love. I mentioned this on Instagram, but I had a situation this week where my authenticity was kind of interrogated. An old podcast kind of came back up and I said some of my views on a particular topic, but it was my views for myself, not for anybody else. And that was when the idea of authenticity came back up in my spirit as a form of self-love. Choosing to be who you are when it is unpopular. Choosing to be who you are when who you are is not being clapped for and praised. And being who you are when nobody is watching. Authenticity. That is a form of self-love. And then the last thought I wanted to bring up about self-love is this idea of what the process is like when you're trying to relearn self-love after it's been challenged. So people are going to challenge your ability to love yourself. There are going to be situations that challenge your ability to love yourself. And you have to commit to making that choice every single day. You can do this through body gratitude, really thanking your body for holding you down all this time. You can do this through love letters to yourself. And I'm not talking about just oh, I love you, girl, you cute. No. Think about the things you don't accept about yourself. And then write yourself a letter like you are the bombest, the most popping person in the room, because you are. Because you're you and nobody else is you. The last piece of this that we have to address in order to really just lean into self-love and be more mindful about our self-love journeys is this idea of self-soothing. You need to trust that you can give yourself the love that you need It's hard, y'all. I'm telling you, there was a time in my life where I needed to vent every time something happened. But now I'm getting to a space where I vent to myself first. I seek God first before I try and go talk to people about what I may be feeling. So trust yourself. You have what you need to provide for yourself the love you deserve. And then when you get love from other people, it's just your overflow, right? Because you're so full that extra love just ends up being extra, not to fill your cup. And so we're going to talk about a few things. So self-soothing, right? Self-soothing is an opportunity for you to take care of your own needs, because sometimes people won't be around and you have to be okay with that. And it is not to say that you shouldn't lean into loving community, because y'all know how I feel about community care. But it is to lean into your own care to see if you're able to do it, which you are. Okay. And so I'm going to teach you a few things that you can do. Self-soothing, you want to lean into your senses, right? So for example, touch. An example of using self-soothing with touch would be to put your hand over your heart. If you're getting irritated, frustrated, overwhelmed, put your hand on your heart and breathe. Just breathe. Because sometimes we just need to be reminded that you're here, you're present, and you're going to be okay. Then hearing. Using your hearing, right? So music, we know that's an easy one, but also listening to nature sounds, or ASMR, I guess that's what it's called. And when people be whispering on the mic like that type of stuff really soothes people. So try it out. And then smell those essential oils. I'm telling you, lavender has saved me from many headaches. Lavender has reminded me many, many times to calm my little self down. And so it's so helpful. Sight, right? Go outside, see colors, right? Find things that color in a booklet, because colors bring vibrancy and they remind you that you are present. And sometimes you need to be brought back to your awareness. And then last but not least, taste. Get you some hot tea to warm your spirit and your throat, honey. Make sure that you're getting yourself grounded. In these moments where stuff is crazy or you need to be reminded that you are amazing, affirm yourself. Yeah? Let's move on to announcements with Key. All right, y'all. So the most major announcement that I'm going to give you today, other than the fact that we're going to be continuing mindful loving throughout the month, focusing on relationships next week, is the fact that I'm doing a giveaway very soon. So this is what you have to do to enter. You want to like my most recent YouTube episode, subscribe to the channel, and comment on the most recent YouTube episode. You have the opportunity to win one of 3 prizes, which I will tell you about towards the end of the month. But do it. You have until the last day of the month to take care of this. So like, subscribe, comment. That's all you got to do. And if you want to share it with somebody, honey, then that's extra points for you. That's extra entries for you. So check that out. This has been another episode of Kicking It with Key, where we focus on mindfulness, self-care, and community care. And if you need support at your school, in a group, anything that you're connected to that needs some mindfulness support, I offer workshops, resources, everything you can think of. All the details are below. Hit me up. Love y'all for real. See you next time.